Hello. Hello. Oh, hello. Look at that. I found my comb. Oh, yeah, let's go. Comb this shit up, boys.
Twisted Tales is
Now
now
live.
streaming Elden Ring. E-girl hanging with the boys arc 1-2.
It's supposed to be saying e-girls less than hanging with the boys. Because fuck them e-girls. Not fuck them. Fuck them.
Twisted Tales is now live. Streaming Elden Ring. E-girl hanging with the boys arc 1 for rainy day.
Hello, 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 everyone. We are picking up where we last left off. We've been grinding a little bit, just a little bit. Been kind of about the hope we are at another mining settlement. Two people chatted in the last stream. That's neat. I need something, cause I'm gonna get bored.
But if I have to go into the code itself, that'll take hours. We need Nedry. We've got to find the son of a bitch right away. Nedry. The sign said electrified fence, 10,000 volts, do not touch. But Nedry opened it with his bare hand and unlocked the gate, swinging it wide. He went back to the Jeep, drove through the gate, and then walked back to close it behind him. Now he was inside the park itself, no more than a mile from the east dock. He stepped on the... He stepped on the accelerator and hunched forward over the steering wheel, peering through the rain-slashed windshield as he drove the Jeep down the narrow road. He was driving fast, too fast, but he had to keep to his timetable. He was surrounded on all sides by black jungle, but soon he should be able to see the beach and the ocean off to his left. This damned storm, he thought. It might screw up everything. Because if Dodgson's boat wasn't waiting for him at the east dock when Nedry got there, the whole plan would be ruined. Nedry couldn't wait very long or he would be missed back at the control room. The whole idea behind the plan was that he could drive to the east dock, drop off the embryos, and be back in a few minutes, before anyone noticed. It was a good plan, a clever plan. Nedry worked on it carefully, refining every detail. This plan was going to make him $1.5 million. 1.5 million. That was 10 years of income in a single tax-free shot. And it was going to change his life. Nedry'd been damned careful, even to the point of making Dodgson meet him in the San Francisco airport at the last minute with an excuse about wanting to see the money. Actually, Nedry wanted to record his conversation with Dodgson and mention him by name on the tape. Just so that Dodgson wouldn't forget he owed the rest of the money, Nedry was including a copy of the tape with the embryos. In short, Nedry had thought of everything. Except this damned storm. Something dashed across the road, a white flash in his headlights. It looked like a giant rat. It scurried into the underbrush, dragging a fat tail. Possum. Amazing that a possum could survive here. You'd think the dinosaurs would get an animal like that. Where was the damn dock? He was driving fast, and he'd already been gone 5 minutes. He should have reached the east dock by now. Had he taken a wrong turn? He didn't think so. He hadn't seen any forks in the road at all. And where was the dock? It was a shock when he came around a corner and saw that the road terminated in a gray concrete barrier, 6 feet tall and streaked dark with rain. He slammed on the brakes and the Jeep fishtailed, losing traction in an end-to-end spin, and for a horrified moment he thought he was going to smash into the barrier. He knew he was going to smash, and he spun the wheel frantically, and the Jeep slid to a stop, the headlamps just a foot from the concrete wall. He paused there, listening to the rhythmic flick of the wipers. He took a deep breath and exhaled slowly. He looked back down the road. He'd obviously taken a wrong turn somewhere. He could retrace his steps, but that would take too long. He'd better try and find out where the hell he was. He got out of the Jeep, feeling heavy raindrops spatter his head. It was a real tropical storm, raining so hard that it hurt. He glanced at his watch, pushing the button to eliminate the digital dial. 6 minutes gone. Where the hell was he? He walked around the concrete barrier, and on the other side, along with the rain, he heard the sound of gurgling water. Could it be the ocean? Nedry hurried forward, his eyes adjusting to the darkness as he went. Dense jungle on all sides, raindrops slapping on the leaves. The gurgling sound became louder, drawing him forward. And suddenly he came out of the foliage and felt his feet sink into soft earth and saw the dark currents of the river. The river. He was at the jungle river. Damn. The river where? The river ran for miles through the island. He looked at his watch again. 7 minutes gone. You have a problem, Dennis, he said aloud. As if in reply, there was a soft hooting cry of an owl in the forest. Nedry hardly noticed. He was worrying about his plan. The plain fact was that time had run out. There wasn't a choice anymore. He had to abandon his original plan. All he could do was go back to the control room, restore the computer, and somehow try to contact Dodgson to set up the drop at the East Dock for the following night. Nedry would have to scramble to make that work, but he thought he could pull it off. The computer automatically logged all calls. After Nedry got through to Dodgson, he'd have to go back into the computer and erase the record of the call. But one thing was sure. He couldn't stay out in the park any longer, or his absence would be noticed. Nedry started back, heading toward the glow of the car's headlights. He was drenched and miserable. He heard the soft hooting cry once more, and this time he paused. That hadn't really sounded like an owl, and it seemed to be close by, in the jungle somewhere off to his right. As he listened, he heard a crashing sound in the underbrush. Then, silence. He waited and heard it again. It sounded distinctly like something big, moving slowly through the jungle. Through the jungle toward him. Something big. Something near. A big dinosaur. Get out of here. Nedry began to run. He made a lot of noise as he ran, but even so, he could hear the animal crashing through the foliage and hooting. It was coming closer. Stumbling over tree roots in the darkness, clawing his way past dripping branches, he saw the jeep ahead, and the lights shining around the vertical wall of the barrier made him feel better. In a moment, he'd be in the car, and then he'd get the hell out of here. He scrambled around the barrier, and then he froze. The animal was already there. But it wasn't close. The dinosaur stood 40 feet away, at the edge of the illumination from the headlamps. Nedry hadn't taken the tour, so he hadn't seen the different types of dinosaurs, but this one was strange looking. The 10-foot-tall body was yellow with black spots, and along the head ran a pair of red, V-shaped crests. The dinosaur didn't move, but again gave its soft, hooting cry. Nedry waited to see if it would attack. It didn't. Perhaps the headlights from the jeep frightened it, forcing it to keep its distance, like a fire. The dinosaur stared at him and then snapped its head in a single swift motion. Nedry felt something smack wetly against his chest. He looked down and saw a dripping glob of foam on his rain-soaked shirt. He touched it curiously, not comprehending. It was spit. The dinosaur had spit on him. It was creepy, he thought. He looked back at the dinosaur and saw the head snap again, and immediately felt another wet smack against his neck, just above the shirt collar. He wiped it away with his hand. Jesus, it was disgusting. But the skin of his neck was already starting to tingle and burn. And his hand was tingling too. It was almost like he had been touched with acid. Nedry opened the car door, glancing back at the dinosaur to make sure it wasn't going to attack, and felt a sudden, excruciating pain in his eyes, stabbing like spikes into the back of his skull, and he squeezed his eyes shut and gasped with the intensity of it and threw up his hands to cover his eyes, and felt the slippery foam trickling down both sides of his nose. Spit. The dinosaur had spit in his eyes. Even as he realized it, the pain overwhelmed him, and he dropped to his knees, disoriented, wheezing. He collapsed onto his side, his cheek pressed to the wet ground, his breath coming in thin whistles through the constant, ever-screaming pain that caused flashing spots of light to appear behind his tightly shut eyelids. The earth shook beneath him, and Nedry knew the dinosaur was moving. He could hear its soft hooting cry, and despite the pain, he forced his eyes open, and still he saw nothing but flashing spots against black. Slowly, the realization came to him. He was blind. The hooting was louder as Nedry scrambled to his feet and staggered back against the side panel of the car as a wave of nausea and dizziness swept over him. The dinosaur was close now. He could feel it coming close. He was dimly aware of its snorting breath, but he couldn't see. He couldn't see anything, and his terror was extreme. He reached out his hands, waving them wildly in the air to ward off the attack he knew was coming. And then there was a new, searing pain, like a fiery knife in his belly, and Nedry stumbled, reaching blindly down to touch the ragged edge of his shirt, and then a thick, slippery mass that was surprisingly warm. And with horror, he suddenly knew he was holding his own intestines in his hands. The dinosaur had torn him open. His guts had fallen out. Nedry fell to the ground and landed on something scaly and cold. It was the animal's foot, and then there was new pain on both sides of his head. The pain grew worse, and as he was lifted to his feet, he knew the dinosaur had his head in its jaws. And the horror of that realization was followed by a final wish that it would all be ended soon. Bungalow. More coffee? Hammond asked politely. No, thank you, Henry Wu said, leaning back in his chair. I couldn't eat anything more. They were sitting in the dining room of Hammond's bungalow, in a secluded corner of the park not far from the labs. Wu had to admit that the bungalow Hammond had built for himself was elegant, with sparse, almost Japanese lines, and the dinner had been excellent, considering the dining room wasn't fully staffed yet. But there was something about Hammond that Wu found troubling. The old man was different in some way, subtly different. All during dinner, Wu had tried to decide what it was. In part, a tendency to ramble, to repeat himself, to retell old stories. In part, it was an emotional liability, flaring anger one moment, maudlin sentimentality the next. But all that could be understood as a natural concomitant of age. John Hammond was, after all, almost 77. But there was something else. A stubborn evasiveness, an insistence on having his way, and in the end, a complete refusal to deal with the situation that now faced the park. Wu had been stunned by the evidence. He did not yet allow himself to believe the case was proved, that the dinosaurs were breeding. After Grant had asked about amphibian DNA, Wu had intended to go directly to his laboratory and check the computer records of the various DNA assemblies. Because if the dinosaurs were, in fact, breeding, then everything about Jurassic Park was called into question. Their genetic development methods, their genetic control methods, everything. Even the lysine dependency might be suspect. And if these animals could truly breed, and could also survive in the wild. Henry Wu wanted to check the data at once, but Hammond had stubbornly insisted Wu accompany him at dinner. Now then, Henry, you must save room for ice cream, Hammond said, pushing back from the table. Maria makes the most wonderful ginger ice cream. All right. Wu looked at the beautiful, silent serving girl. His eyes followed her out of the room, and then he glanced up at the single video monitor mounted in the wall. The monitor was dark. Your monitor's up, Wu said. Is it? Hammond glanced over. Must be the store. He reached behind him for the telephone. I'll just check with John in control. Wu could hear the static crackle on the telephone line.
Easy
back
work.
in its cradle. Lines must be down, he said. Or maybe Nedry's still doing data transmission. He has quite a few bugs to fix this weekend. Nedry's a genius in his way, but we had to press him quite hard toward the end to make sure he got things right. Perhaps I should go to the control room and check, Wu said. No, Hammond said. There's no reason. If there were any problem, we'd hear about it. Maria came back into the room with 2 plates of ice cream. You must have just a little, Henry, Hammond said. It's made with fresh ginger from the eastern part of the island. It's an old man's vice, ice cream. But still. Dutifully, Wu dipped his spoon. Outside, lightning flashed, and there was the sharp crack of thunder. That was close, Wu said. I hope the storm isn't frightening the children. I shouldn't think so, Hammond said. He tasted the ice cream. But I can't help but hold some fears about this park, Henry. Inwardly, Wu felt relieved. Perhaps the old man was going to face the facts after all. What kind of fears? You know, Jurassic Park's really made for children. The children of the world love dinosaurs, and the children are going to just delight in this place. Their little faces will shine with the joy of finally seeing these wonderful animals. But I am afraid I may not live to see it, Henry. I may not live to see the joy on their faces. I think there are other problems too, Wu said, frowning. But none so pressing on my mind as this, Hammond said, that I may not live to see their shining, delighted faces. This is our triumph, this park. We have done what we set out to do. And you remember, our original intent was to use the newly emerging technology of genetic engineering to make money. A lot of money. Wu knew Hammond was about to launch into one of his old speeches. He held up his hand. I'm familiar with this, John. If you were going to start a bioengineering company, Henry, what would you do? Would you make products to help mankind? To fight illness and disease? Dear me, no. That's a terrible idea. A very poor use of new technology. Hammond shook his head sadly. Yet, you'll remember, he said, the original genetic engineering companies like Genentech and Caesars were all started to make pharmaceuticals, new drugs for mankind. Noble purpose. Unfortunately, drugs face all kinds of barriers. FDA testing alone takes 5 to 8 years, if you're lucky. Even worse, there are forces at work in the marketplace. Suppose you make a miracle drug for cancer or heart disease, as Genentech did. Suppose you now want to charge $1,000 or $2,000 a dose. You might imagine that is your privilege. After all, you invented the drug. You paid to develop and test it. You should be able to charge whatever you wish. But do you really think that the government will let you do that? No, Henry. They will not. Sick people aren't going to pay $1,000 a dose for needed medication. They won't be grateful. They'll be outraged. Blue Cross isn't going to pay it. They'll scream highway robbery. So something will happen. Your patent application will be denied. Your permits will be delayed. Something will force you to see reason and to sell your drug at a lower cost. From a business standpoint, that makes helping mankind a very risky business. Personally, I would never help mankind. Wu had heard the argument before, and he knew Hammond was right. Some new bioengineered pharmaceuticals had indeed suffered inexplicable delays and patent problems. Now, Hammond said, think how different it is when you're making entertainment. Nobody needs It's entertainment. That's not a matter for government intervention. If I charge $5,000 a day for my park, who is going to stop me? After all, nobody needs to come here. And far from being highway robbery, a costly price tag actually increases the appeal of the park. A visit becomes a status symbol, and all Americans love that. So do the Japanese. And, of course, they have far more money. Hammond finished his ice cream, and Maria silently took the dish away. She's not from here, you know, he said. She's Haitian. Her mother is French. But in any case, Henry, you will recall that the original purpose behind pointing my company in this direction in the first place was to have freedom from government intervention anywhere in the world. Speaking of the rest of the world, Hammond smiled. We have already leased a large tract in the Azores for Jurassic Park Europe. And you know we long ago obtained an island near Guam for Jurassic Park Japan. Construction on the next 2 Jurassic Parks will begin early next year. They will all be open within 4 years. At that time, direct revenues will exceed $10 billion a year, and merchandising, television, and ancillary rights should double that. I see no reason to bother with children's pets, which I'm told Lou Dodgson thinks we're planning to make. $20 billion a year, Wu said softly, shaking his head. That's speaking conservatively, Hammond said. He smiled. There's no reason to speculate wildly. More ice cream, Henry. Did you find him? Arnold snapped when the guard walked into the control room. No, Mr. Arnold. Find him. I don't think he's in the building, Mr. Arnold. Then look in the lodge, Arnold said. Look in the maintenance building. Look in the utility shed. Look everywhere, but just find him. The thing is... The guard hesitated. Mr. Nedry's the fat man, is that right? That's right, Arnold said. He's fat, a fat slob. Well, Jimmy down in the main lobby said he saw the fat man go into the garage. Muldoon spun around. Into the garage. When? About 10, 15 minutes ago. Jesus, Muldoon said. The jeep screeched to a stop. Sorry, Harding said. In the headlamps, Ellie saw a herd of apatosaurs lumbering across the road. There were 6 animals, each the size of a house, and a baby as large as a full-grown horse. The apatosaurs moved in unhurried silence, never looking toward the jeep and its glowing headlamps. At one point, the baby stopped to lap water from a puddle in the road, then moved on. A comparable herd of elephants would have been startled by the arrival of a car, would have trumpeted and circled to protect the baby. But these animals showed no fear. Don't they see us? She said. Not exactly, no, Harding said. Of course, in a literal sense they do see us, but we don't really mean anything to them. We hardly ever take cars out at night, and so they have no experience of them. We are just a strange, smelly object in their environment, representing no threat and therefore no interest. I've occasionally been out at night, visiting a sick animal, and on my way back these fellas blocked the road for an hour or more. What do? Harding grinned. Play a recorded tyrannosaur roar. That gets them moving. Not that they care much about tyrannosaurs. These apatosaurs are so big they don't really have any predators. They can break a tyrannosaur's neck with a swipe of their tail, and they know it. So does the tyrannosaur. But they do see us. I mean, if we were to get out of the car... Harding shrugged. They probably wouldn't react. Dinosaurs have excellent visual acuity, but they have a basic amphibian visual system. It's attuned to movement. They don't see unmoving things well at all. The animals moved on, their skin glistening in the rain. Harding put the car in gear. I think we can continue now, he said. Wu said, I suspect you may find there are pressures on your park, just as there are pressures on Genentech's drugs. He and Hammond had moved to the living room, and they were now watching the storm lash the big glass windows. I can't see how, Hammond said. The scientists may wish to constrain you, even to stop you. Well, they can't do that, Hammond said. He shook his finger at Wu. You know why the scientists would try to do that? It's because they want to do research, of course. That's all they ever want to do is research. Not to accomplish anything, not to make any progress. Just do research. Well, they have a surprise coming to them. I wasn't thinking of that, Wu said. Hammond sighed. I'm sure it would be interesting for the scientists to do research. But you arrive at the point where these animals are simply too expensive to be used for research. This is wonderful technology, Henry, but it's also frightfully expensive technology. The fact is, it can only be supported as entertainment. Hammond shrugged. That's just the way it is. But if there are attempts to close down, face the damn facts, Henry, Hammond said irritably. This isn't America. This isn't even Costa Rica. This is my island. I own it. And nothing is going to stop me from opening Jurassic Park to all the children of the world. He chuckled. Or at least, to the rich ones. And I tell you, they'll love it. In the back seat of the Jeep, Ellie Sattler stared out the window. They had been driving through rain-drenched jungle for the last 20 minutes, and had seen nothing since the apatosaurs crossed the road. We're near the jungle river now, Harding said as he drove. It's off there somewhere to our left. Abruptly, he slammed on the brakes again. The car skidded to a stop in front of a flock of small green animals. Well, you're getting quite a show tonight, he said. Those are compies. Procomsit packets, Ellie thought, wishing that Grant were here to see them. This was the animal they had seen in the facts back in Montana. The little dark green Procomsignathids scurried to the other side of the road, then squatted on their hind legs to look at the car, chittering briefly, before hurrying onward into the night. Odd, Harding said. Wonder where they're off to. Compies don't usually move at night, you know. They climb up in a tree and wait for daylight. Then why are they out now? Ellie said. I can't imagine. You know, compies are scavengers like buzzards. They're attracted to a dying animal, and they have tremendously sensitive smell. They can smell a dying animal for miles. Then they're going to a dying animal. Dying, or already dead. Should we follow them? Ellie said. I'd be curious, Harding said. Yes, why not? Let's go see where they're going. He turned the car around and headed back toward the compies. Tim Murphy lay in the Land Cruiser, his cheek pressed against the car door handle. He drifted slowly back to consciousness. He wanted only to sleep. He shifted his position and felt the pain in his cheekbone where it lay against the metal door. His whole body ached. His arms and his legs, and most of all his head. There was a terrible pounding pain in his head. All the pain made him want to go back to sleep. He pushed himself up on one elbow, opened his eyes, and retched, vomiting all over his shirt. He tasted sour bile and wiped his mouth with the back of his hand. His head throbbed. He felt dizzy and seasick, as if the world were moving, as if he were rocking back and forth on a boat. Tim groaned and rolled onto his back, turning away from a puddle of vomit. The pain in his head made him breathe in short, shallow gasps. But he still felt sick, as if everything were moving. He opened his eyes and looked around, trying to get his bearings. was inside the Land Cruiser. But the car must have flipped over on its side, because he was lying on his back against the passenger door, looking up at the steering wheel and beyond, at the branches of a tree moving in the wind. The rain had nearly stopped, but water drops still fell on him through the broken front windshield. He stared curiously at the fragments of glass. He couldn't remember how the windshield had broken. He couldn't remember anything except that they had been parked on the road, and he had been talking to Dr. Grant when the Tyrannosaur came toward them. That was the last thing he remembered. He felt sick again and closed his eyes until the nausea passed. He was aware of a rhythmic creaking sound, like the rigging of a boat. Dizzy and sick to his stomach, he really felt as if the whole car were moving beneath him. But when he opened his eyes again, he saw it was true. The Land Cruiser was moving, lying on its side, swaying back and forth. The whole car was moving. Tentatively, Tim rose to his feet. Standing on the passenger door, he peered over the dashboard, looking out through the shattered windshield. At first, he saw only dense foliage moving in the wind, but here and there he could see gaps, and beyond the foliage, the ground was 20 feet below him. He stared uncomprehendingly. The Land Cruiser was lying on its side in the branches of a large tree, 20 feet above the ground, swaying back and forth in the wind. "Oh shit," he said. What was he going to do? He stood on his tiptoes and peered out, trying to see better, grabbing the steering wheel for support. The wheel spun free in his hand, and with a loud crack, the Land Cruiser shifted position, dropping a few feet in the branches of the tree. He looked down through the shattered glass of the passenger door window at the ground below. "Oh shit, oh shit." He kept repeating it. "Oh shit, oh shit." Another loud crack. The Land Cruiser jolted down another foot. He had to get out of here. He looked down at his feet. He was standing on the door handle. He crouched back down on his hands and knees to look at the handle. He couldn't see very well in the dark, but he could tell that the door was dented outward so the handle couldn't turn. He'd never get the door open. He tried to roll the window down, but the window was stuck too. Then he thought of the back door. Maybe he could open that. He leaned over the front seat, and the Land Cruiser lurched with the shift in weight. Carefully, Tim reached back and twisted the handle on the rear door. It was stuck too. How was he going to get out? He heard a snorting sound and looked down. A dark shape passed below him. It wasn't the Tyrannosaur. This shape was tubby, and it made a kind of snuffling as it waddled along. The tail flopped back and forth, and Tim could see the long spikes. It was the Stegosaur, apparently recovered from its illness. Tim wondered where the other people were, Gennaro and Sattler and the vet. He had last seen them near the Stegosaur. How long ago was that? He looked at his watch, but the face was cracked. He couldn't see the numbers. He took the watch off and tossed it aside. The Stegosaur snuffled and moved on. Now the only sound was the wind in the trees and the creaking of the Land Cruiser as it shifted back and forth. He had to get out of here. Tim grabbed the handle, tried to force it, but it was stuck solid. It wouldn't move at all. Then he realized what was wrong. The rear door was locked. Tim pulled up the pin and twisted the handle. The rear door swung open, downward, and came to rest against a branch a few feet below. The opening was narrow, but Tim thought he could wriggle through it. Holding his breath, he crawled slowly back into the rear seat. The Land Cruiser creaked, but held its position. Gripping the doorposts on both sides, Tim slowly lowered himself down through the narrow, angled opening of the door. Soon he was lying flat on his stomach on the slanted door, his legs sticking out of the car. He kicked in the air. His feet touched something solid, a branch, and he rested his weight on it. As soon as he did, the branch bent down and the door swung wider, spilling him out of the Land Cruiser, and he fell, leaves scratching his face, his body bouncing from branch to branch. A jolt, searing pain, bright light in his head. He slammed to a stop. The wind knocked from him. Tim lay doubled over a large branch, his stomach burning pain. Tim heard another crack and looked up at the Land Cruiser, a big dark shape 5 feet above him. Another crack. The car shifted. Tim forced himself to move, to climb down. He used to like to climb trees. He was a good tree climber, and this was a good tree to climb. The branches spaced close together, almost like a staircase. Crack. The car was definitely moving. Tim scrambled downward, slipping over the wet branches, feeling sticky sap on his hands, hurrying. He had not descended more than a few feet when the Land Cruiser creaked a final time, and then slowly, very slowly nosed over. Tim could see the big green grill and the front headlights swinging down at him, and then the Land Cruiser fell free, gaining momentum as it rushed toward him, slamming against the branch where Tim had just been. And it stopped. His face just inches from the dented grill, bent inward like an evil mouth, headlamps for eyes. Oil dripped on Tim's face. He was still 12 feet above the ground. He reached down, found another branch, and moved down. Above, he saw the branch bending under the weight of the Land Cruiser, and then it cracked, and the Land Cruiser came rushing down toward him, and he knew he could never escape it. He could never get down fast enough. So Tim just let go. He fell the rest of the way, tumbling, banging, feeling pain in every part of his body, hearing the Land Cruiser smashing down through the branches after him like a pursuing animal. And then Tim's shoulder hit the soft ground, and he rolled as hard as he could and pressed his body against the trunk of the tree as the Land Cruiser tumbled down with a loud metallic crash and a sudden hot burst of electrical sparks that stung his skin and sputtered and sizzled on the wet ground around him. Slowly, Tim got to his feet. In the darkness, he heard the snuffling and saw the stegosaur coming back, apparently attracted by the crash of the Land Cruiser. The dinosaur moved dumbly, the low head thrust forward, and the big cartilaginous plates running in 2 rows along the hump of the back. It behaved like an overgrown tortoise, stupid like that, and slow. Tim picked up a rock and threw it. Get away! The rock thumped dully off the plates. The stegosaur kept coming. Go on! Go! He threw another rock and hit the stegosaur in the head. The animal grunted, turned slowly away, and shuffled off in the direction it had come. Tim leaned against the crumpled Land Cruiser and looked around in the darkness. He had to get back to the others, but he didn't want to get lost. He knew he was somewhere in the park, probably not far from the main road. If he could only get his bearings. He couldn't see much in the dark, but then he remembered the goggles. He climbed through the shattered front windshield into the Land Cruiser and found the night vision goggles and the radio. The radio was broken and silent, so he left it behind. But the goggles still worked. He flicked them on, saw the reassuringly familiar phosphorescent green image. Wearing the goggles, he saw the battered fence off to his left and walked toward it. The fence was 12 feet high, but the Tyrannosaur had flattened it easily. Tim hurried across it, moved through an area of dense foliage, and came out onto the main road. Through his goggles, he saw the other Land Cruiser turned on its side. He ran toward it, took a breath, looked inside. The car was empty. No sign of Dr. Grant and Dr. Malcolm. Where had they gone?
They fucking left you, bro.
Everybody gone.
Took your L.
He felt sudden panic, standing alone in the jungle. and turned quickly in circles, seeing the bright green world in the goggles swirl. Something pale by the side of the road caught his eye. It was Lex's baseball. He wiped the mud off it. "Lex!" Tim shouted as loud as he could, not caring if the animals heard him. He listened, but there was only the wind and the plink of raindrops falling from the trees. "Lex!" He vaguely remembered that she had been in the Land Cruiser when the Tyrannosaur attacked. Had she stayed there? Or had she gotten away? The events of the attack were confused in his mind. He wasn't exactly sure what had happened. Just to think of it made him uneasy. He stood in the road, gasping with panic. "Lex!" The night seemed to close in around him. Feeling sorry for himself, he sat in a cold, rainy puddle in the road and whimpered for a while. When he finally stopped, he still heard whimpering. It was faint, and it was coming from somewhere farther up the road. "How long has he been?" Muldoon
Bro,
said.
what the hell?
Control room. He was carrying a black metal case. "Half an hour. Harding's jeep should be back here by now." Arnold stubbed out his cigarette. "I'm sure they'll arrive any minute now." "Still no sign of Nedry," Muldoon said. "No, not yet." Muldoon opened the case, which contained 6 portable radios. "I'm going to distribute these to people in the building." He handed one to Arnold. "Take the charger too. These are our emergency radios, but nobody had them plugged in naturally. Let it charge about 20 minutes, and then try and raise the cars." Henry Wu opened the door marked fertilization and entered the darkened lab. There was nobody here. Apparently all the technicians were still at dinner. Wu went directly to the computer terminal and punched up the DNA logbooks. The logbooks had to be kept on computer. DNA was such a large molecule that each species required 10 gigabytes of optical disk space to store details of all the iterations. He was going to have to check all 15 species. That was a tremendous amount of information to search through. He still wasn't clear about why Grant thought frog DNA was important. Wu himself didn't often distinguish one kind of DNA from another. After all, most DNA in living creatures was exactly the same. DNA was an incredibly ancient substance. Human beings, walking around in the streets of the modern world, bouncing their pink new babies, hardly stopped to think that the substance at the center of it all, the substance that began the dance of life, was a chemical almost as old as the Earth itself.
That upsetted me so
The
much
DNA
that guy just came out of
molecule
nowhere.
was so old that its evolution had essentially finished more than 2 billion
Weak
years
foes,
ago.
more like.
There had been little new since that time. Just a few recent combinations of the old genes. And not much of that. When you compared the DNA of man and the DNA of a lowly bacterium, you found that only about 10% of the strands were different. This innate conservatism of DNA emboldened Wu to use whatever DNA he wished.
Oh,
In
it's...
making his dinosaurs, Wu had manipulated the DNA as a sculptor might clay or marble. He had created freely. He started the computer search program, knowing it would take 2 or 3 minutes to run. He got up and walked around the lab, checking instruments out of long-standing habit. He noted the recorder outside the freezer door, which tracked the freezer temperature. He saw there was a spike in the graph. That was odd, he thought. It meant somebody had been in the freezer. Recently, too. Within the last half hour.
Bro.
Go in there at night.
Well,
Computer beeped, signaling that the first of the data searches was complete. Wu went over to see what it had found. And when he saw the screen, he forgot all about the freezer and the graph spike. The result was clear.
perfect.
All breeding dinosaurs incorporated rana, or frog DNA. None of the other animals did. Wu still did not understand why this had caused them to breed. But he could no longer deny that Grant was right. The dinosaurs were breeding. He hurried up to the control room. up inside a big 1-meter drainage pipe that ran under the road. She had her baseball glove in her mouth and she was rocking back and forth, banging her head repeatedly against the back of the pipe. It was dark in there, but he could see her clearly with his goggles. She seemed unhurt, and he felt a great burst of relief. "Lex, it's me. Tim." She didn't answer. She continued to bang her head on the pipe. "Come on out." She shook her head no. You could see she was badly frightened. "Lex," he said, "if you come out, I'll let you wear these night goggles." She just shook her head. "Look what I have," he said, holding up his hand. She stared uncomprehendingly. It was probably too dark for her to see. "It's your ball, Lex. I found your ball." "So what?" He tried another approach.
Bro, casting spells and not actually fighting me.
Cold, too.
Disrespectful.
"Wouldn't you like to come out?" She resumed banging her head against the pipe. "Why not? There's aminals out there."
They're M&M's.
She hadn't said aminals for years. "The aminals are gone," he said. "There's a big one. The Tyrannosaurus Rex. He's gone. Where did he go?" "I don't know. But he's not around here now," Tim said,
M&M's.
hoping it was true. Lex didn't move. He heard her banging again. Tim sat down in the grass outside the pipe where she could see him. The ground was wet where he sat. He hugged his knees and waited. He couldn't think of anything else to do. "I'm just going to sit here," he said, "and rest." "Is Daddy out there?" "No," he said, feeling strange. "He's back at home, Lex." "Is Mommy?"
Bro.
"No, Lex." "Are there any grown-ups out there?" Lex said. "Not yet, but I'm sure they'll come soon. They're probably on their way right now." Then he heard her moving inside the pipe, and she came out, shivering with cold and with dried blood on her forehead, but otherwise all right. She looked around in surprise and said, "Where's Dr. Grant?" "I don't know." "Well, he was here before." "He was? When?" "Before," Lex said. "I saw him when I was in the pipe." "Where'd he go?" "How am I supposed to know?" Lex said, wrinkling her nose. She began to shout, "Hello! Hello! Dr. Grant? Dr. Grant!" Tim was uneasy at the noise she was making. It might bring back the Tyrannosaur. But a moment later he heard an answering shout. It was coming from the right, over toward the land cruiser that Tim had left a few minutes before. With his goggles, Tim saw with relief that Dr. Grant was walking toward them. He had a big tear in his shirt at the shoulder, but otherwise he looked okay. "Thank God," he said. "I've been looking for you." Shivering, Ed Regis got to his feet and wiped the cold mud off his face and hands. He had spent a very bad half hour wedged among big boulders on the slope of a hill below the road. He knew it wasn't much of a hiding place, but he was panicked, and he wasn't thinking clearly. He had lain in this
Right, I've already been here before.
To get hold of himself.
Will.
He kept seeing that dinosaur in his mind. He saw it coming toward him, toward the car. Ed Regis didn't remember exactly what had happened after that. He remembered that Lex had said something, but he hadn't stopped. He couldn't stop. He had just kept running and running. Beyond the road, he had lost his footing and tumbled down the hill and come to rest by some boulders. And it had seemed to him that he could crawl in among the boulders and hide. There was enough room. So that was what he had done. Gasping and terrified, thinking of nothing except to get away from the Tyrannosaur. And finally, when he was wedged in there like a rat between the boulders, he had calmed down a little had been overcome with horror and shame because he had abandoned those kids. He had just run away. He had just saved himself. He knew he should go back up to the road. He should try to rescue them, because he had always imagined himself as brave and cool under pressure.
Lame.
But whenever he tried to get control of himself, to make himself go back up there, somehow he just couldn't. He started to feel panicky, and he had trouble breathing, and he didn't move. He told himself it was hopeless anyway. If the kids were still up there on the road, they could never survive. And certainly there was nothing Ed Regis could do for them. And he might as well stay where he was. No one was going to know what had happened, except him. And there was nothing he could do. Nothing he could have done. And so Regis had remained among the boulders for half an hour, fighting off panic, carefully not thinking about whether the kids had died, or about what Hammond would have to say when he found out. What finally made him move was the peculiar sensation he noticed in his mouth. The side of his mouth felt funny, kind of numb and tingling, and he wondered if he had hurt it during the fall. Regis touched his face and felt swollen flesh on the side of his mouth. It was funny, but it didn't hurt at all. Then he realized the swollen flesh was a leech growing fat as it sucked his lips. It was practically in his mouth. Shivering with nausea, Regis pulled the leech away, feeling it tear from the flesh of his lips, feeling the gush of warm blood in his mouth. He spat and flung it with disgust into the forest. He saw another leech on his forearm and pulled it off, leaving a dark, bloody streak behind. Jesus, he was probably covered with them. That fall down the hillside. These jungle hills were full of leeches. So were the dark, rocky crevices. What did the workmen say? The leeches crawled up your underwear. They liked dark, warm places. They liked to crawl right up your... Hello? He stopped. It was a voice, carried by the wind. Hello? Dr. Grant? Jesus, that was the little girl. Ed Regis listened to the tone of her voice. She didn't sound frightened or in pain. She was just calling in her insistent way. And it slowly dawned on him that something else must have happened. That the Tyrannosaur must have gone away, or at least hadn't attacked, and that the other people might still be alive. Grant and Malcolm. Everybody might be alive. And the realization made him pull himself together in an instant. The way you got sober in an instant when the cops pulled you over. And he felt better, because now he knew what he had to do. And as he crawled out from the boulders, he was already formulating the next step, already figuring out what he would say, how to handle things from this point. Regis wiped the cold mud off his face and hands, the evidence that he had been hiding. He wasn't embarrassed that he had been hiding, but now he had to take charge. He scrambled back up toward the road, but when he emerged from the foliage, he had a moment of disorientation. He didn't see the cars at all. He was somehow at the bottom of the hill. The Land Cruisers must be at the top. He started walking up the hill, back toward the Land Cruisers. It was very quiet. His feet splashed in the muddy puddles. He couldn't hear the little girl anymore. Why had she stopped calling? As he walked, he began to think that maybe something had happened to her. In that case, he shouldn't walk back there. Maybe the Tyrannosaur was still hanging around. Here he was, already at the bottom of the hill, that much closer to home. And it was so quiet. Spooky, it was so quiet. Ed Regis turned around and started walking back toward the camp. Alan Grant ran his hands over her limbs, squeezing the arms and legs briefly. She didn't seem to have any pain. It was amazing. Aside from a cut on her head, she was fine. I told you I was, she said. Well, I had to check. nose was swollen and painful. Grant suspected it was broken. His right shoulder was badly bruised and swollen, but his legs seemed to be all right. Both kids could walk. That was the important thing. Grant himself was all right, except for a claw abrasion down his right chest, where the Tyrannosaur had kicked him. It burned with every breath, but it didn't seem to be serious, and it didn't limit his movement. He wondered if he had been knocked unconscious, because he had only dim recollections of events immediately preceding the moment he had sat up, roaming in the woods 10 yards from the land cruiser. At first his chest had been bleeding, so he had stuck leaves on the wound, and after a while it clotted. Then he had started walking around, looking for Malcolm and the kids. Grant couldn't believe he was still alive, and as scattered images began to come back to him,
I'm good.
he tried to make sense of them.
Bro,
The Tyrannosaur
I'm
should
good.
have killed them all easily.
Okay.
Why hadn't it? I'm hungry, Lex said. Me too, Grant said. We've got to get ourselves back to civilization. And we've got to tell them about the ship. We're the only ones who know, Tim said. Yes, we've got to get back and tell them. Then let's walk down the road toward the hotel, Tim said, pointing down the hill. That way, we'll meet them when they come for us. Grant considered that, and he kept thinking about one thing. The dark shape that had crossed between the land cruisers even before the attack started. What animal had that been? He could think of only one possibility. The little Tyrannosaur. I don't think so, Tim.
Hello.
The road has high fences on
How
both
are
sides,
you?
Grant said.
It's going. How's it going for you? Better. Is that all I got? Yeah. Okay. Cool. No one's trying to sell me any bullshit. Oh, I got a fourth one. Could be better. First playthrough and all, and okay.
By the way, do you stream daily and what's your good schedule?
I wanna say it is, but like, I mean, whenever I decide to pop on, I gave an. If you want to check out the bio and stuff, I think I have information lingering around. If you want to check out there should be a schedule prompted. Ooh, nice. Whoop.
So let me follow you so whenever you'll stream I can join you. Smile.
Okay.
Bazinga.
Bazinga. Jeez. I like that. Yeah, I mean, go ahead if you want. You're welcome to it. Do appreciate good conversation.
I am a visual artist. I help streamers to grow. Would you like to see work?
No. Why are you? No, you. Oh, Bazink. Oh, Stream Elements. You're cringe. That's hilarious. But
See my work.
at least see your work. You begging me to see your work now. You said please. I can't say no to someone that said please. Such a bad person if I don't just go along and just say it right. You got Instagram? Do you have Instagram? I need to say it slower. Ooh, hello there, buddy. Well, you get in a flame sword to the ass. Oh, it's my knight. It's my knight guy. I have your sword. Home slice. Take the L. Take that L, boy. Bitch, boy. Huh. Very neat. Very niche. Ooh. What's up here? A whole lot of nothing. So, do you got Instagram? You wanting me to see your work, huh? You got Instagram? You got your own self-made website? You got any other form of bullshit you want me to, you know, do? Cause like I'm currently streaming on like, oops, excuse me. I am currently streaming on my PlayStation, which if you are trying to sell me like overlays and shit, I can't be using any of that until like, oh fuck, there's some dogs. Be gone, dog. Can't be using any of that shit till like I get my whole PC and stuff going. And I mean, if you want to give me money to like purchase a PC to then incorporate my artwork, I mean, hey, I'm like maybe $2,000 to $3,000 I need. Oh my god, for this PC I want to build. Oh, hello there. Neat, very niche. I like this. Oh. Snake guy, take a boom. Don't really want to fuck with anything down there. No, thank you. Kind of got quiet here. I mean, not trying to say you're just as bad as those viewer followers. I think you have already hopped in my stuff once already. Which, I mean, hey, fair game. Appreciate it. But at the same time, I don't really need any overlays or anything. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Oh, be gone. Be gone. You. Be gone. Nope. I'm just gonna go run straight forward. I'm gonna go this way. Nope, that's just a nasty drop off. I'm happy that thing didn't freaking wake up. Ugh. And then we got this motherfucker just like waiting there. Patiently waiting. Be gone. Nope, I'm not fighting you. Oh, Albernac. He dead. Totally forgot I maimed the shit out of him. Wish I could just jump down in that lava. I feel like there's a way to jump to that pole and then run across and jump over there. Makes sense, but... Oh, it's the Albernax. Look at that. I'll set you free, buddy. How about that? For free. Was I too mean? I mean, I'm was just trying to be real, my guy. It's don't gotta feel a certain kind of way. I appreciate you coming into the chat and stuff, but like, it's slightly annoying because I don't know if that you were the first one to have asked or asked 2 times back to back, or this is like your first time asking. I just realistically don't have the necessary hardware to be running any of these overlays. Oh my goodness, that's dark. Any of the overlays and shit. Like, I mean, would I want one? I mean, bro, jeez. You're alive, for sure. Brokey. But like, yeah, like it's no big deal asking, but at the same time, like, dude, like, message me on my email or something, like, then I might show, like, you know, like, oh, hey, you went through the professional matters. Like, if, like, oh, yeah, no, hold up. Bro, you literally went through my freaking chat. I'm a guy who streams, I don't know, not enough, right? I don't stream enough to be forking out money. I'm a day-to-day worker. I work like at the most 8-hour shifts, right? And you pleading with me, begging me to check out your shit. I respect the hustle, but at the same time, my homie. Ooh, I one-shotted that slug. Ooh. Bro spitted magma. I think it's gangster as fuck that my character literally. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Bro, bro, trying to like give me the oh, 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 oh shit. I'm gonna. Yeah, that was a lot of damage. It like critical success. Right. So I'm back to it. Right. So I'm just gonna speak my mind on. Oh my good. Oh my. Oh my. I fucking died there. Fuck. So we're just gonna say this, Miss. Person in my chat with the 89. I'm just gonna say this, right? That was lack of professionalism on your part. If you wanna hit me up in my email. Send me an email. Ding, bing, dang, boom, done. We can talk behind. Best I can say to your plead is that I'm not interested getting harassed in my chat. And that's enough said. Asking a question on how I'm liking the game, like you actually care how my game experience is actually. Like, come on. That's some fake ass shit. Oh, moving forward. Oh. Bro, just soft pats. Oh, goodbye. Goodbye, I'm not fucking with you. Like the fucking loser in my fucking chat. Running this way. Sorry, that's a little mean. I'm being a little I was being a little mean there, okay? You're definitely not a loser. I'm a loser for saying that you're a loser. For sure. But at the same time, stop asking. Stop asking like that. Ask me in my email. I might be interested. You never know. Oh, fuck. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. And you immediately hop out of my chat after asking me and shit. I'm like, bro, the fuck wrong with you? Bruh. Like, come on. Come on. Why you gotta be like that? Gross. Ooh. Sausage fingers over here. Bro! What fucking... Okay, no, it's fucking dead. I'm upset. He smacked me with the sausage finger. I'm a visual artist. I help streamers. Bro, if you fucking... I'm gonna message in the chat. Bro?
Cheap viewers on streamboo.com, remove the space, EEKCRNMM. Bro. Send me an email, keep that shit out of my chat.
God, I wish I had mods right now.
Also, fake viewer should keep that out of my chat. I'm going to keep blocking you.
Bro, like, absolutely. This is like my fucking 5th bot that I have to block. 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 Hit the block. Hit the block with the Glock. Fucking stupid pop. Fucking top pop. Pick it. Bruh. Truly upsetting. Oh my god. Right. Bro. Nope, 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 nope. Just run. Just run. Just run. Nope. We're just running. Oh. With your cum juice leaking out and stuff. Bro got a hard on for me. Jeez. Bro, why there more slugs over here? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. If it's not freaking this freaking tentacle file up here, it's the fucking, yeah, oh yeah, fuck you, bitch. Bitch. With your nasty fucking tentacle stalks, have an ass. Go get yourself groped on, bruh. Where did I go? Oh no, where did I go? I don't know where to go. Oh, okay, that makes sense. I'm gonna go this way. We're just moving. We're moving, we're grooving. We got this fucking oh my goodness. Yeah, no thank you. Your movements suck. I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. Cause oh my god.
Like 21 and 22, this is the same thing that was happening. Like, because that was like in the midst of the recession that we had back then. That was like a little bonus recession. Yeah, it was the same exact thing.
Going up is a cost of things, not the actual influence their lives. That's not ridiculous to say that.
Yeah, I don't care what nobody's saying. If you blessed to have parents that love you, there's absolutely nothing wrong with staying home until you're ready to leave.
Obviously
I've seen people leave home prematurely for multiple reasons. Sometimes it's because of dysfunction, but usually it's just because they don't want to live under their parents' rule. And to be honest, what usually happens is they go and get an apartment, and since they got to pay the rent for the apartment, they go and get a low-wage job because they don't have any job experience because they rush themselves out of the house. They end up spending more time in the job than they do enjoying the freedom away from their parents. And then it just becomes a cycle because those low-wage jobs are only going to pay you so much. So if you got parents, that's a huge advantage. Stay home until you're ready. I have a buddy that's 27 years old. He owns an entire moving company, but he still lives with his parents.
Man, imagine that.
By the time he leaves, he's going to be able to put a 50% down payment on whatever house he wants.
Tell them to bring me my money.
What's going on here at the migrant crisis? What do people think about the migrants here inside Chicago?
On some real shit, think they need to go on back where they at, Joe. We ain't got enough room for them.
True, brother. Oh my god.
Right now.
Let's be nice. We don't have to go there. I mean, you're not wrong, but you didn't have to say it.
And where should they go?
Shit. Somewhere?
Oh shit, that's awesome.
So good. Just telling it how it is. Yeah, bro. Like, yeah. This is so fucking
But
funny.
you didn't have to say it.
And where should they go?
Shit. Somewhere where's room for them at? If it's back to where they at or another little city, but Chicago too packed, man. We already got a lot going on.
What do you think about them giving them free hotels, free phones?
That's what I'm saying. They treating them better than real residents. Like, they giving them shit that they ain't give us.
Damn.
And we born and raised in Chicago. They come in giving them 15.
It used to be they were taking our jobs. Now it's we got no houses left. Yeah.
3,000 they name, a GN link, all type of shit. I'm down. But you got homeless people sleeping on the street. You know, they fucked up, but y'all bringing people in, treating them better than motherfuckers who from Chicago. I don't like that though.
What's your direct message to Mayor Johnson then?
Man, fix it. Get this shit together, bro.
Man. Fix this shit, yeah. Like, it's not his job to know what to do. Solid message? Yeah, he's right.
Help the city. Don't just be all talk. You talk that talk to get in there, live it. Stand on business.
Yeah, allowing immigrants to...
Bro, this dude, this must be his first election that he's been paying attention to. You know, like, damn, so, like, the dude got in there, he said he was gonna do something that didn't happen? Oh, man, first time, huh? Oh.
come in and then giving them more benefits than Americans that have been paying taxes their entire lives is just crazy to me. I'm not sure what the game plan is. I'm not sure if it's for cheap labor. I'm not sure if it's to stabilize the population because we're at a declining birth rate. I was actually talking to my wife about this recently, and this might sound a little bit pessimistic, but this is kind of what I'm
I
starting.
think we have a declining birth rate because people don't want to have kids because they can't afford it. That's the reason. It's not really that complicated. Like most of the time whenever I see people that are like, oh yeah, we decided not to have kids, or like we're not having kids, the main reason why is because they're focusing on their career, or it's either a direct or an indirect reason that's related to money. Because people may...
Yeah, that's what.
focus on their career so they can make money and feel more financially stable. So, like, it's not really that you're career focused, it's that you feel like you need to be career focused in order to have stability for a family. So, like, you see it, yeah, daycare costs is a bunch of other shit, right? There's a lot. And so a lot of them, like, I hear this, and I see people talking about it, and it's because they simply don't have the money. They don't have the money. Kids cost a lot more? Yeah, exactly. I don't want my kids growing up in a dying climate and earth. Yeah, for sure. But, like, I think that every single one of them, like, there's money is, like, a huge factor. Now, and don't get me wrong, there's plenty of broke people that have kids, right? But I think that the problem is that the conscientious people, it's almost like, it's like an unironic idiocracy situation, right? Where the people that are the most financially illiterate and irresponsible are having the most kids because they don't understand it. Give me a second, my dad's calling me real quick. Yeah, what up? Gary? It's Zach. But I thought I called the wrong person. I think his stream is lagging because he said the reason why people do it too is because they don't have the freedom to like go travel or go do anything, and I think that's also true. It's because also I think the reason for that though is like people that don't have the freedom to do that is because they weren't able to do that when they were young because they didn't have the money. I feel like one of the, like, if you look at, you know, like I've used this example, right, with like, you know, a lot of different ways to get to the number 4. I feel like the number 4 right now is money. And so like people want to travel because they weren't able to do that when they were younger because of money. People can't buy a house because of money. People want to advance their career because of money. Like everything always.
He's talking some real shit though, not gonna lie.
In almost all cases.
I'm at level 100.
Almost all.
Maybe they're bringing in immigrants to help with production when it comes to manufacturing bullets or whatever we might need for World War III, or maybe it's just so they can be soldiers in World War III. But either way, if you're the average American, you should be upset because Americans can hardly afford to eat, and we're giving our tax dollars to people that aren't even from here.
It's not going, you know what I'm saying? It ain't going, nah, it ain't going to work.
I literally just did my taxes and I owe money. I call my dad, I'm like, did I do this right? He's like, I don't know, maybe you should pay someone to do your taxes for you.
Yeah.
I said, does it sound like I'm in the position to be paying someone else to do my taxes when I already owe the government money? Oh my God. What is this scheme?
That's right.
God, are you there?
And if you don't do it, you go to jail. That's the way it is. Just buy more money. True.
It is me, Sarah. I hate being an adult. You can't do this.
Oh, bro. This guy will have like he'll have some person on the stream, and he'll be like, "So let me get this straight."
Think about it. We are resisting the waves. What matters one's image in such a crisis? Zarias has placed her trust in you. All the more reason that some things are better.
Huh.
things are better left unknown. Besides, no one should be blamed for their head.
Where's my place I need to go? Maybe it's there.
You are in debt because you like buying old video game systems? And it's like, so you spent $3,000 a month on buying vintage video games and you don't have any money? Have you thought about not doing that? And they're like, yeah, I thought about buying PlayStations instead. It's like, basically, he brings on people that, it's like, these are people that don't know what 7 times 3 would be, right? The guy that has 3 cars, yeah, it's like, yeah, I bought a, I bought an $8,000 car. I pay $15,000 a month, or $1,500 a month on it, and it's a 36 month lease. You know?
The future is just not there.
152K in bad debt. That's a lot of money at 25, bro. Like, you gotta be like, that's impressive. I'm gonna be real. I think that's impressive.
Fucking speed running.
That much? That's like a high score.
Brother,
Really?
speed
Like,
ran.
That's impressive, man. Holy.
Yeah, I don't know. I keep thinking about the worst case scenario.
What, bankruptcy? Or kill yourself?
Yeah.
That'd be real. Well, that'd be a good idea. You do that right away.
Bro, no.
For 7 more years, you can do it again. You gotta always be cheating, man. You gotta always be cheating. Yeah, be cheating, not pay the money, do whatever you can. Right? Yeah, exactly. He knows? Absolutely, yeah. Like, the thing is that this is who it really fucks over, right? Is it fucks over these, like, oh, I'm gonna do the good thing and I'm gonna do the right way. Bro. Like, you think the people that wrote the rules are doing that? Fuck no, man. And whenever you're in a circus, you better act like a clown. Like, you absolutely need to do that. Run up the money, spend the fucking money, write it off, say you're not gonna pay it. They send it to a debt collection agency. Then they can't legally garnish your wages anymore, depending on the state that you live in. Then eventually the debt collection agency reports it to the IRS as income for you. And then that year you just don't make any money, so you don't have to pay taxes on that money. You get a deferral for your taxes, and then you get that forgiven by the government. But you have to be cheating all of the time. Like, always be cheating, man. ABC, always be doing whatever you can to get the money, because if you're not doing that, somebody else is going to do that. It's more common than you think. 10 people have over 100K in student loan debt. Yeah, I know a friend that has that. Yeah, Trump went bankrupt 4 times. Yeah, of course you had to do that. Yeah, you have to always be cheating, man. That's it. For legal reasons, this is a joke. Well, it's like you want to take out one credit card and then pay off another credit card, and then just stop answering phone calls from both of them, but then make it to where, like, the amount is not high enough to where they try to seek legal repudiation, legal, proceedings from you. So you want to balance out, scam, 5 people for 10K rather than, 1 person for 50K, and then that way they can probably just write your debt off rather than, so then that's why you take out the extra credit cards, and you do that as well. And then you have, let's see, what's some other things you gotta do? Stop at the how-to? Yeah, there's just a lot. Debtors hate this guy? Well, you just have to do, student loan should be tax deductible. Well, all on six cards, rotation 5K, exactly, yeah. And, not financial advice? No, this is not financial advice. And, Warren Buffett said the top 100 companies paid their taxes, no American would never have to pay again. Yeah, but it's like people don't understand. It sounds easier to just get a job. Nah, bro, it's actually super easy to do this. Like, yeah, it's super, super easy. Always be cheating. Yeah, always be cheating. Do whatever you can to, save money. Like, there would be other things that I would suggest, but, like, that probably would, like, legitimately get me in trouble. But, yeah, like, regularly take things, like, pay things off in, like, an amount. Like, you know, pay things on, like, a, you know, a payment plan. And
Oh my
then,
god.
product to where they can't get it back from you. And then stop paying for it. And that way you keep it. And, like, they probably won't press charges unless it's really expensive. So then you only do it with cheap things, right? You always, like, bro, always be cheating, man. Always.
To go through 25, but...
Especially with my card.
Because, like, she's crying. She doesn't get it. She doesn't understand it.
What's kind of stopping me from going that route? Because...
Yeah.
You have 152,000.
That's a car loan for $16,000. This girl is stupid with money. She's stupid. Like, use $16,000 for a car loan? Why you need to buy a car for $16,000? That's nuts. Like, that's too much for a car. Yeah, that's way too much for a car, man. Average car price is $46K? Yeah, it's an average, right? I'm talking about, like, bro, if you have no fucking money and you're 25, you are below average. Quit buying a car for and this is, by the way, this is the amount of money that's left.
Bro.
Down payment, money that's already
oh my god, that's crazy. It just says, do it. This is like, do it, pussy.
What are you doing? You being an idiot. My car's $3K paid up front. Yeah.
$10.
To be fair, like, used cars have gone up a lot in price recently, right? Like, I don't know if they started going back down again, but I probably not because of inflation, right?
Oh, $152,000. $152,027.
Damn.
In bad debt.
Yeah.
That is a number that just shouldn't even be considered.
Yeah.
As a number for someone in your age. That's like you having a mortgage or something.
Yeah, $125,000 of debt at the age of 25. You might as well go ahead.
I mean, I'm gonna be real. Like, I think that you know who's at fault? You know who fucked up here? She 25. She fucked up, number one. Number two is the schools. How much you want to bet that she probably not that good at math? That she don't understand what percentages are and shit like that, right? It's the education system. Yeah, the parents also, it's the school's job to teach the kids. Yeah, of course it's the parents too. But, like, I guarantee you, bro, like, she called, like, what's 8% of 100? And this would be a problem. You know, like, what is compounding interest? This would be a problem. 17% of $80,000. This would be a problem. You see what I'm saying?
And file for bankruptcy. At least she's single with no kids. This is probably the best time to do it. Two of my buddies live together in their early 20s. And when I say buddies, I mean guys that I've known since I was 14 years old.
Right.
There's only 4 of these people on the planet. I don't use the word friend as just a word to say. But anyway, my 2 buddies were living together. And I remember this because every time I would come back home from college, they would have a new gadget. They were buying, like, electric skateboards. They were buying motorcycles. They were buying cars. Pretty much a bunch of egregious shit that they didn't even really need. And it got to the point where they were working 40 hours a week and could hardly afford to eat because all the money they were dishing out was because the interest rates were high and they were
they got a default on the money. You got to declare bankruptcy. You got to, like, bro, because then it's like if you're living with one guy, like, really, the cooldown is like 3.5 years. You have one guy buy all the stuff for one period of time, then you buy all the stuff the next time, and that, see, like, you leapfrog. See, you got to be thinking about this a lot. Yeah, it's the cooldown. Yeah, exactly. Can't default on school loans. Yeah, I know.
Bro, what bullshit is this?
You have to get around that is by not making money. Like, you basically have to assume that they're going to eventually forgive the student loans, and so then you never pay down the principal, and they can't garnish your wages until, like, you make a surprisingly large.
It's gonna be May. It's gonna be May. Well, more interested And what's down here compared to all that shit? So we'll go this away then. It's gonna be May. Oh, oh, oh yeah, I need to get this background noise.
Amount of money. So then you have to figure out other ways that you can invest your money into things that you can monetize or do without allowing it to go above the threshold for wage garnishing. That's what you have to do. Well, like over 400K, yeah, exactly. Like that's you figure out like different ways that you can do that. Military, not anything you can, man. Become a server making tips, yeah.
Trying to pay back these people so that they wouldn't get their stuff repossessed. Eventually, some of their stuff got repossessed, and I remember they had a moment of clarity where they realized the only reason we feel like we're slaves and the only reason we're in such a scarcity mindset all the time is because we've made so much debt, we've built up so much debt from buying shit that we don't even need. So they started working 60 hours a week, and at this time we're in our early 20s, so these jobs are not good jobs. They're just putting in just grind hours, just grunting it out. 60 hours a week, paying off debt, for about a year and a half straight. Eventually, they got to the point where they didn't have any debt anymore. Fast forward to today, they're completely out and they don't want to go back into debt. They save their money. They both make about $100,000 a year. One of my buddies just called me a couple days ago and said he makes he just got a $20,000 raise on his salary.
That's a lot. God damn, that's a lot of fucking money. I did that, paid 35K in student loans in 2 years. Yeah, that's a fuck.
And the other buddy owns a pharmacy, is a partial owner in a pharmacy in Kenya, so they're both doing pretty well.
In Kenya,
and it's
what the
because
fuck?
once they got out of that scarcity mindset, because they actually got to keep the money that they were making because they weren't.
I think also like that's just what happens whenever you're young, right? It's like whenever you're young, you don't have a lot of skills or like experience or anything like that. So like obviously you're gonna be dumb.
Shit they don't need.
Yeah.
It gave a lot of clarity, and they could actually make decisions with a rational mind instead of just living in a scarcity mindset their entire lives. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I don't know if the economy is ever going to get any better, but the best thing you can do from my experience is to live way below your means and never go into debt, especially for something you don't need.
And that's a fact.
Yeah, there's so many people, bro. Like, people go crazy with spending money. Like, what's sad about it to me is that there's so many young people that feel like they need to buy all this expensive shit, and they do that, and then they ruin their life. That's what it is. I'll link y'all the video. This is a good video. He write about pretty much everything. I'm gonna be honest. I think so. Like, yo, any young person isn't paycheck to paycheck. Yeah, exactly. Like, well, it's because people try so hard to spend money or to like look good or whatever, and it ends up ruining their life. I think that's really what the problem is. Yeah, buying shit you don't need. Yeah, exactly. Like buying shit you don't need. Isn't it an IRL stupid tax? Yeah, exactly. Of course it is. You put medical debt on a credit card. Medical debt doesn't have interest. Well, if with medical debt, what you want to do is you want to say that you're going to pay it in cash. So they have a lower, because like they'll give you a lower amount, and then tell them that you're going to do it in pay.
It's gonna be May. Ugh. It's gonna be May. Whoa. Tight shit. I don't wanna. It's gonna be May. Oh.
If you follow this hero, it cannot come. No, I haven't seen Zoe, and she has no scouting duties now. Has she gone off in search? Why won't she just listen? May I ask, not as the manor's proprietress, but as Zarias' mother, if she discovers the answer to her question, have her drink this potion to purge that which would cause her pain. Yes, my wish is a grave disrespect, no different than the Earth Tree, but I've no choice. It must be done. My wish is that I've no choice.
You're still well.
Oh shit.
Oh, it's you. I'm afraid there is something I must tell you. I was a limited child, born not of grace, but of a hideous ritual, something that can never be accepted. Not by men, nor serpents. Even Lady Tanith shouldn't accept me. Leonardo, you have done so much for me, but I wish to ask one last kindness. Kill me, please. I thought that I feared nothing, but this, free me from this accursed frame. Leonardo, you have done so much, but I wish to kill me. I thought that I feared nothing. Free me from...
What did that say? Tarnished ahead, and then enemy ahead. So we got a tarnish. Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense. Oh. That's pretty cool. Well, that's neat. That's the tarnish.
Yeah. How's the game going?
It's going pretty good. Enjoying it. Oh, I got fucking green goop on me.
Cool 3.
Yeah. How's your day going? I also got off of work early, so it's early streaming today. Probably gonna go take a shower in like a couple hours. Portal. Where does this portal take me? Also, my drip's like so fucking clean. Look at that. Oh! Oh! Such clean drip. Oh. Huh.
Stream elements.
Huh?
It cannot come a day too soon.
I need my chat to load up. I guess I'm just gonna quickly see what I got. Alice Cherry. Okay. Alice Cherry 3 at Stream Elements. What does that mean?
By the way, do you stream daily and what's your good schedule?
My good schedule is on my channel. If you go into my schedule area, you'll see the days in which I'm scheduling most of my games.
Cool.
Yeah. I believe most people who try to keep... Okay. Try to keep...
So let me follow you so whenever you'll stream I can join you. Smile. Thank you for following Alice Cherry 3. Have a twisted day.
Oh, thank you. Very much appreciated. That's like 2 new follows today. That's awesome. Got Discord though? If you're trying to game sometime, also open to that. I got a heart. Oh my gosh.
Can you drop Discord?
Oh, I mean, if you got Discord, I believe. Where is that? So I know I have it in my about. Do I not have it in my bouts? Honestly, if you want to send me a whisper, I'll respond.
Buddy, can you drop Discord in chat?
Oh, can I drop Discord in chat?